Welcome to another In Wheel Time podcast, a 30-minute mini version of the In Wheel Time car show that airs live every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central. Howdy, and welcome to the In Wheel Time car talk show. Turn the page.
Turn the page.
Turn the page.
Okay, Bob Seger.
Turn the page.
Well,
They're all stuck together. Thanks for joining. Yeah, well, that's the question of a lifetime. Thanks for joining us on the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show ahead. Author of Fast Ford's 50 Years of Up Close and Personal with Ford's Finest. Later, Jeff has this week's special feature on 8 car models that are going away. I thought we already did that.
I know. You turn the page.
That's the problem. I turned the page. Mm-hmm. Well, so what are you going to do later?
Oh, the Motor Minute.
Oh, the Motor Minute. Oh, see, I've got that down for the Motor Minute.
Yeah, I guess I misunderstood what was going where because I
got Wheels on TV.
Well, because that doesn't need to be there.
Well,
and that's
I
my
can't
fault.
Change that.
No, you can't. It's okay. Well,
don't go changing.
Enough of dilly-dallying around on this. We have guest Jeremy Walton. Jeremy, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, sir.
And that's quite an accent. I bet you're not from Alabama, are you?
I don't think I'm from Alabama, but I was born July 4th.
Wait, the 4th of July. Well, America's Independence Day. Jeremy is the author of Fast Ford's 50 Years Up Close and Personal with Ford's Finest. And he is a renowned author, writer, and all-around good guy. And Jeremy, it's great to have you with us. What time is it over there in the UK?
3:30 in the afternoon.
Oh, you've been up for a while.
Authors have to get up early.
Yeah, well,
yeah,
exactly. And where are you located over there in the UK?
Near to a historic monument called Stonehenge.
Oh, are awesome. You?
Cool.
That's what the problem is. You got all those alien forces still swirling around up there, right?
Correct.
Well, you know, the other thing that comes to mind with your new book about Ford's Finest is the fact that, and I'm sure that most people that are car people understand that Ford over in the UK and Ford here in the United States, yes, they may be owned by the same company, but they also make different cars for different parts of the world. What we have over here don't necessarily travel over there on the other side of the pond. And so, do you have Mustangs over there?
We've raced Mustangs since the 60s. When Ford went total performance, we went along with it because we could find winning formula. But we made our own stuff as well. Little Cortinas, Lotus Cortinas, and stuff like that.
Yes. Well, we've heard of those, and we're familiar with those. But do they have? Can you go down the street to a Ford store and buy a Ford over there?
Oh yeah, you can go to over 100. And Ford, for until about 2021, was the market leader. It took them until the 60s to overcome the home opposition, the people who made Minis and Sprites and stuff like that, and also had electrics by Lucas, King of Darkness.
King of Darkness. Lucas, yes, of course. We've heard of their famous electronics and their carburetors, so I can totally relate to that. So tell us about your book, Fast Ford's 50 Years Up Close and Personal with Ford's Finest. Do you have a personal relationship?
I do. I worked for the company for 3 years, and I was a consultant for maybe 20.
Very nice. And what did you consult with them on?
High performance racing and rallying, which was a bigger sport over here than there. But also we got involved in rallycross, which became pretty popular in the States as well.
And still is, as a matter of fact. Yeah. And are you still involved in any of that?
I'm 77 years old, so I tell the guys why they're slow.
I got it. So what made you decide to come up with the book, Fast Ford's 50 Years Up Close and Personal with Ford's Finest?
In the words of the famous gangster, I got a contract.
Well, that's perfect. Yes, and
It's a lot of puns.
and,
I like it.
I will say that his sense of humor.
I know, I like
very,
it.
very British. We love it, and don't go changing to try to please us over here in the U.S. of A. So tell me a little bit about the book. What do you cover in there?
Well, in 400 pages, we're covering 50 years of mainly European Fords, but there are 2 chapters that are maybe familiar territory to you. I don't know whether you can see some of the pages.
Sure.
But this is a Galaxy 500.
Right? Yeah.
Raced on a tiny English track. So we go from tiny post-war austerity vehicles that were hopped up and were used in drag racing with big engines, through to GT40, the transit van, which I think you get recently, and then a lot of European product, which comes up to date. Well, actually, it's just been dropped, really. Focus, Fiesta, that sort of stuff. So the book really ends with the last gasoline-powered cars.
What kind of car do you have personally in your garage?
Not permitted.
Not permitted. I got it. All right. Well, I guess that speaks volumes. One, about your sense of humor, and number 2 is, he's
Got a contract.
He's got a contract. That's exactly right. Well,
I will say that there are over 400 Fords driven in this book. Some maybe 50 of some models. I mean, one thing we got in big time was Sierra, which you had as Mercure, and which is always held as a failure in the States. But actually, you managed to sell twice as many Mercures as we managed to sell high-performance Sierras. But maybe that's the size of your market.
That's it. I remember the Mercure that we had here in the United States. Do you remember that?
Yep.
I don't remember exactly what it is. I know that name from something.
It's a small car that it was a one-off kind of car that I guess that we imported over here from
because Mr. Bob Lutz said you would. So he tried to make a Ford BMW.
Yes.
Okay.
And
okay.
it was a hot rod
like a
sold at
son
the
of a
Mercury
Maverick.
dealership.
Correct.
Yeah. And was it a 4-door?
It was a unique body. It was 2 doors with a hatchback and what I think you call 5 light. In other words, 3 side windows.
Yes. It was kind of an odd duck. It was an attractive car. You just didn't see that many of them. And that was back in the 70s. Was that? Am I right?
That was in the 80s, and it was a much more successful competition car. So you had it in the US racing, and we had it in Europe as well. While we were waiting for a thing called the Sierra Cosworth, which was where the Grand Prix engine builders put a motor in the Sierra or Mercure.
Isn't that fascinating? So you cover that in this book of yours. So I would like to invite everybody that's a Ford fanatic, and there are lots of them here. Matter of fact, we had Randy Weldon, who's well oiled in the Ford Mustang, to check out your book. Where can we find your book?
You can get it direct from a company called Evro.com, Evropublishing.com. Have you got a copy of the book or a PDF?
That would be Mr. Mars, who...
No, sir.
We do not.
Oh, right. Okay. Fine. So the web address, which is probably the best for US and overseas orders, is Evro Publishing, EVRO Publishing .com.
Okay, EvroPublishing.com. And it's not available on Amazon?
Yes, it is.
Oh, it is. Okay. All right. Very good.
I don't like you to buy it there because it's cheaper.
You know, I think that we would like to sit down and have a pint with you sometime.
Or several.
Or several.
Yeah. Well, I'm practiced in that. I was a journalist.
There you go. Exactly.
Yes, exactly. Well, we love that.
I can do that.
Yeah. Tell me about your personal experience. You worked for Ford for a while, so I assume that you got to drive many of the Fords that you write about in your book. Yeah.
The appeal of it compared with like writing just a mark history or, this model came out in that. It's the fact that every car that's in there, I've driven. So I started off as a young kid journalist, and the English establishment didn't like, this was in the time of the Beatles and all that, and the English established automotive makers didn't like long-haired kids driving their cars. But Ford Motor Company were a little more used to, let's say, teenagers who'd got money. And so when the establishment turned me down to visit a very big competition shop here in Britain, Ford Motor Company said, send the kid over. We'll teach him some things. And they did. They really did. It wasn't all lovey-dovey, but they taught me a lot about racing and putting together cars and how to make a profit on each single item you do. And also, somebody taught me to drive on an airfield perimeter as well, where you have to do all these tricks like sideways and handbrake turns and all that stuff. So I was pretty well versed by the time I was about 22. Got a better job on a bigger couple of magazines, became more establishment myself, and then started racing. And a guy from Ford, a consultant, a guy called Nick Britton, I was racing a Chrysler product initially, 2 products, and he said, you don't want to do that. There's no money in that. You're 21, 22 years old. You've got 2 kids and a mortgage. Get out there, get sensible, go to Ford. And Ford had asked me to drive a car. So I got a 1-year season. And a little irony that might amuse you was, so I'd do a 40-race season starting as a novice. And halfway through that season, I got the chance to drive a BMW in an international 24-hour race. The week before I was due to race that car in Belgium, I turned the Ford over very comprehensively. Made the front page of the papers. That got me some sponsorship to carry on running the Ford. Next week, I was in Belgium with the BMW, and it turned a really good result. And that's how I got into Ford.
Well, I like the way you put that. It turned a really good result, because when you used the word turned, I thought, oh my gosh, he turned that one over too.
No. That would be terrifying. I don't think you would be familiar with Spa over there. Only maybe Dan Gurney from the past would. It was an 8-mile road circuit, and the Grand Prix cars would average 160 miles an hour.
Oh my gosh! Where was this circuit?
Belgium. It's the other side of the Ardennes. Fairly famous for being fought over by the Germans and the Allies.
Yes, of course. Does it still exist today?
Well, the bits that we didn't all race to the ground, yeah. The circuit does. The circuit's much shorter now. It's a sort of 4-mile track, and it's used for Grand Prix, and it's still pretty spectacular.
I can only imagine, yeah, because, well, here in the United States, it seems that every time you turn around, another housing development is eating up some sort of racetrack of various kinds. So that's why I ask. My
hugest regret is I remember driving 3 cars in 2 weeks at Riverside Raceway for my journalism. And, of course, that went to housing, I believe.
Yes, it did. And that's one of the examples that comes to mind when we talk about racetracks. Well, the other thing that I picked out of your resume and some of the content I think that's in your book is you addressed the Escort that Princess Diana drove. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, it set a new world record for reselling a used sedan, I think. Well, it wasn't a sedan, actually. It was a convertible. It was specially painted in black for her. I know the irony of Henry Ford, but black is a very special color in Europe, and quite often the real high-performance cars, you had to be a special somebody to get it painted black. Anyway, Princess Di was obviously very much a special somebody. She used the vehicle for about 12,000 miles. It passed through various owners. And the last owner got right, made sure that it had got the original plates and the original finish that she had, and it went at Silverstone for £725,000. That's quite a lot even in your money.
Well, I'll say, holy Toledo. So is it in a private collection now?
So far as I know, yes. It hasn't become visible again.
Interesting. Well, it's kind of the same way over here. Every once in a while you run across a car that has quite a history about it, and it just disappears off the face of the earth in somebody's private collection, never to be seen again.
Pedigree on it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I say that because I think that the Corvette serial number from 1953 is 001, and it's been around a while, but it has disappeared off and on throughout the years, and I think recently it's been rediscovered, so that I can relate to that. Well, it sounds like a fascinating book, Fast Fords, 50 Years of Up Close and Personal with Ford's Finest by Jeremy Walton from the UK, and most notably, Stonehenge.
Yeah.
I would imagine that your address is not Stonehenge.
Number 1 Stonehenge. I'll tell you what it is. Well, I'm not going to tell you the rest of it, but I actually live in an old church.
Today you live in an old church?
I do. One that was a religious ground that was listed back when the French came over and conquered us. So that was 1066. And then it was rebuilt by the Victorians about 250 years ago.
How wonderful is that?
That's cool.
Well, next time I'm coming over, I'm going to come to see you, and I'll knock on the door, kind of like European Vacation.
Yeah.
You've probably seen the movie where they knock on the door and they're invited in for some schnitzel, and the people that served them schnitzel didn't have any clue who they were. They just thought that it was, Uncle So-and-so. But at any rate, that'll be your treat on us. Okay,
We'll bring the pints.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I'm thinking of a trip to the US about the time you're coming.
well, perfect.
Leave the key under the mat.
Jeremy Walton, you are a joy to have on the show. We really appreciate it. And we would like everybody to check out Fast Ford's 50 Years Up Close and Personal with Ford's Finest. Jeremy, have a wonderful weekend, and thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you.
Thanks
Thank you,
for your
sir.
time.
You bet.
You bet. Okay.
Have fun.
That is fun. I love interviews like this, and I've got 2 pages, as you can see right here, of all of the stuff about him and his experience and everything that goes on to get this 400-page book. And I told you the name 1,000
There you
times.
go.
I think we got that. All right. I guess that we need to take a little short break.
A little schnitzel.
In time for a schnitzel. In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available 24/7 through the iHeartRadio app. Just look for In-Wheel Time Car Talk. We also video stream our 3-hour weekly show on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com. Podcasts from your favorite podcast provider. The In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show continues right after this quick break. Pro-Am Auto Accessories has been serving Houston's auto enthusiasts since 1984, providing world-class products for sports cars, European sedans, and American muscle. Pro-Am is known as the place to go to find exclusive and hard-to-find parts and accessories. Pro-Am is one of the very first distributors in the USA for brands such as Recaro, Redline, Momo, Corbo, and Simpson. Located in the heart of Houston's premier retail and service corridor, the Galleria area, Pro-Am's walk-in storefront includes an 8,000-square-foot warehouse, showroom, and installation bays. Pro-Am not only sells parts and accessories, but also offers installation and service. Pro-Am is now reaching a worldwide audience through Pro-Am.com, taking its local reputation to the rest of the world. At Pro-Am Auto, you'll be dealing with a small group of professionals who truly want to help you with your automotive needs. If you don't see what you're looking for on the website, call and Pro-Am will lend you a hand. Pro-Am Auto, 6125 Richmond at Green Ridge in Houston's Galleria area. Call them at 713-781-7755. Want to feel good about something special you did for someone special? In-Wheel Time and the original Lupi Tortilla group of Tex-Mex restaurants have joined together to help a very worthy cause, God's Garage, a Christian-based 501c3 charity. We know there are lots of places and organizations out there where you can donate a car, truck, or SUV, but we're asking you, our car enthusiast family, to consider donating to God's Garage. Visit godsgarage.org and learn about its mission, the women that have been helped, how each one is screened, and about their Restore You program. A car donation is an easy way to make a difference in the lives of others. God's Garage needs good operating vehicles, but will take all types in working and non-working condition. Make your heart and soul feel good by donating your gently used vehicle and help support single mothers, widows, and wives of deployed military at godsgarage.org. Welcome back to the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Let's see. Let me get my act together here.
Okay,
real
well,
quick.
you're doing
Is
that.
okay?
I'm going to get this going here.
Hey, thanks
too.
for riding with us today. We'd love to hear from you. Shoot us an email. info@inwheeltime is the address to write to. And if you want to, you can reach out to Mars. He's mars@inwheeltime.com, or Jeff at inwheeltime.com.
There you go. Send cards and letters, fan mail, money. Money's well appreciated.
Really? Yeah. I know you just didn't ask for money.
I did.
Kind of like Soupy Sales
That's
did.
what I was thinking. Soupy Sales.
You don't even remember that, do you, there, Mr. Mars? Soupy
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, do you? Soupy Sales used to be a show for kids on Saturday morning.
Out of Detroit.
Very funny show. And he said, hey, kids, go get $1 out of your parents' wallet and send it
Send
to me.
it to me.
And apparently lots of kids did. And the parents wrote the show and said, how dare you tell my kid to go into my wallet and have him pluck $1 and send it to you.
Or whatever amount it was.
And that was the end of the show. He got fired for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Time now for Jeff's Motor Minute.
Well, I had the opportunity to take Kylie. She took her car, her new car to her, in for some recall work. She
Yep.
had a couple of recalls done, so they got it in and all that, dropped it off. It took a few days, all that stuff. So I had time to go take her up there to pick it up so she could have the car back. And I'm looking around this dealership. I'm not going to name the dealership. I wasn't too enthralled with their service at the time. And it's a big dealership, well-known dealership. They've got a sign just about on every service advisor's station, in the bathroom and in the cafeteria. We have raised our labor rate to $180 per hour.
Ooh.
Really?
Minimum 1 hour.
Boy, I'd like to get in on that.
I know, and I'm thinking, how ridiculous is this? So we bought an antenna part for her because her antenna was messed up, so we're going to figure we'd have that done. I'm not paying $300, $400 for a little over an hour job for this antenna, so we got the part. Car was good and all that
Is
stuff.
$181 an hour? Is that the going rate across the United States?
No, that's at that dealership, but they vary. They vary anywhere from $100 to $200 an hour, and it depends on whether you're in a city or in a rural market. A little less money in a rural market than it would be in a big Houston or a big Dallas area, and it all depends on the dealership itself. Inflation has a lot to do with it. Other factors determine the type of shop. Is it a BMW or is it a Volkswagen shop? Those labor rates also apply differently there. Most companies and dealerships, they don't overcharge for parts because they know they can make it up on a labor side. The service department is the moneymaker. We all know that of a dealership because they're selling the cars. They make a minimum with all the incentives and things of that nature through financing and so on. But the hourly labor rates at dealerships are extremely high. I think they're out of control. Nothing like you would have as an independent. So my recommendation is if you don't have to go to the dealer, if it's not under a warranty or a recall, find somebody, find a shade tree, find a neighborhood guy. I've got one. Or find a local place that you've dealt with in the past from 3-4 bay shop or
You
something.
got one?
Yeah, I got a guy. In fact,
Is he close by the house?
yeah, it's like a block away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm actually
Do you
talk to
drive
him.
over there?
I do. I have to pass his house leaving out of the neighborhood. But I've got to get some work done in the caddy. I got some things I need done, and he's the guy. He doesn't charge me a whole lot, and it's quality work. He actually used to work for me when I was a buyer rep for AutoNation.
Really?
He actually was one of my service technicians. He's a good guy. He's the kind of guy that's got the toolbox that's 47 drawers and lighted and stereo and all that.
Oh, yeah,
He used to
yeah,
have an
yeah.
old T-bucket hot rod in his garage.
Yeah, he's
all
still
that
paying
stuff.
for it.
Well, the guy does amazing work. He's good at what he does.
Well, why don't you turn him on to us? I mean,
Because he's my guy. Well, he's not always available. He does other things too.
He doesn't want to share.
Yeah. He does other things. He's got a home in Galveston, and he's got a home up in Conroe or something that he does. He's not home all day during the week. So I have to get time. Hey, I'm going to come by on Tuesday. You're going to be around. Yeah, come by at 10 o'clock, whatever, and do the work.
You got to make an appointment.
But the whole point of this is know what you're getting into when you go to a dealership, because there are signs that say minimum hour at $100, $180
Well,
an
in
hour.
a lot of places, that's a small sign.
It is. Well, it's
At
about
the
the size of
dealership.
papers that sit on the desk like this. There it is.
Yeah, they wanted to say it's posted, but if you don't see it, that's okay too.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
my
Speaking
minute on
of that, Teddy Morris said riding motorcycles makes you feel like the star of your own movie. An intense, genuine passion for motorcycles, all kinds, but especially Harley Davidson, helped fuel the CEO of Ed Morris Automotive Group's decision to purchase his first power sports stores. 3 selling only Harleys and 1 power sports in 3 cities in Texas in 2022. Power sports, by definition, include motorized vehicles that riders guide with handlebars, including motorcycles, all-terrain vehicles, snowmobiles, personal watercraft, though industry leaders think of Harley-Davidson in its own class. Sonic announced its entry into the power sports segment in February of 23, acquiring 13 locations that year and in 22. Publicly traded Lithia Motors bought its first Harley store in 2021 in Canada and added 6 stores selling RVs in 2022 as well. So dealerships are trying to diversify because, the way that the car market is, you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, look, all these manufacturers are pulling gasoline-powered cars, and all they're doing is selling EVs, and they're not selling them. Or not selling them in the volume that they did gasoline vehicles.
That's right.
So how are you going to keep the front doors open? Diversify. Start selling some other things.
Well, not only that, you go down to the beach and you go down there and these guys are riding these side-by-sides.
Yeah.
You know, he was talking,
crazy.
John was talking about putting
Right.
seats in them and stuff. And these people are paying $20,000+ for a vehicle they can't drive on the street.
Yeah, I've seen them on the street.
Well, they
illegally.
can't drive them legally on the street.
The ones with the 2 wheels in front of the wheel and
You're
the one
talking-
single.
No. I'm talking about it's a 4-wheeler.
Okay, yeah, like
you
a
sit
Polaris.
side by side on it. Yeah, like
Like a Polaris type.
several of them.
Okay.
Most people they jack them up, put the
Yep,
big speakers, and
I
all that
got you.
garbage in
All
them.
right. I was thinking the other one.
The slingshot type vehicles, that's different. That's in fact the one that's got the 2 wheels in the front and the single in the back. You don't even have to have a motorcycle license for in the state of Texas.
Yeah, okay, well, fine.
Wow.
I don't care.
It's on your
you'll never
license
find
because
me
you're
in one.
donating body parts.
Stupid looking.
Yeah.
I've driven them.
Have you?
Yeah,
I can see that.
I don't like them.
They're weird.
yes.
And I'd drive just about anything, but I would not drive that. It scares
Somebody
me.
take a picture of me driving it. I'm going, you don't. If I wore my Mike Mars mask, then I would drive it, but not with
You got a mask? You can get that at
The
inwheeltime.com.
Mike Mars, and also at the Halloween store they're
Yeah.
just opening up on
Yeah,
the
John
corner
John
down
might
there.
have a few of them too.
Well,
you
guess
go.
what we've got coming up next hour?
We've got Granbury.
We got Granbury. We've got Tom's wife, Tammy.
And she's here.
It's Tom and Tammy Dooley. Tom is never around, and that we're gonna
meet him, though. We're going to meet him. We were told we're going
Well,
to meet
in
him.
jail or what?
No, at the next at the event.
Oh, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, because I don't think he exists because we've never seen him.
Wow.
And Tom is his middle. This particular Tom, that's his middle name.
or his nickname, one of the two.
I believe it.
I believe. All right, that's all coming up. Hey, if you'd like to get in touch with us, email us, info@nwheeltime.com. In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show continues right after this quick break.
Everyone at the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy, thank you for participating in the best cruise in around and look forward to seeing you again. You'll hear about the next cruise in date right here on In-Wheel Time. Next time you're in the West Houston Energy Corridor area, be sure and stop in at the original Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex at I-10 and Highway 6 or the Katy location on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard. When passing through Beaumont or College Station, stop in and have Lupi's award-winning beef fajitas and frozen margaritas. There's always a celebration at Lupi Tortilla. Lupi Tortilla founder Stan Holt and his wife Sheila are winning racers on the NHRA drag racing circuit and have a collection of hot rods and classics that everyone appreciates. Look for them at the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In. The date will be announced soon and will once again be held at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex on 99 and Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 and Katy. We'll give you all the details right here on the In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show and online. Donations benefit God's Garage. We'll see you then. You own a car you love. Well, why not let Gulf Coast Auto Shield protect it? Houstonian John Gray invites you to his state-of-the-art facility to introduce you to his specialist team of auto enthusiasts. We promise you'll be impressed. Whether you're looking to massage your original paint to a like-new appearance, apply a ceramic coating, install a paint protection film, nano-ceramic window tint, or new windshield protection called ExoShield, Gulf Coast Auto Shield is where Houston's car people go. Curbed your wheels? Instead of buying new, why not have them repaired? How about a professionally installed radar detector? Gulf Coast Auto Shield does that too. Get a peek inside the shop and look at the services offered by getting online and heading to gcautoshield.com. Better yet, stop by their facility at 11275 South Sam Houston Tollway, just south of the Southwest Freeway, and get a personal tour. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your place to go for all things exterior. Call them today, 832-930-5655 or gcautoshield.com. That's it for this podcast episode of the In Wheel Time Car Show. I'm Don Armstrong, inviting you to join us for our live show every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and our InWheelTime.com website. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart Podcast, Podcast Addict, TuneIn, Pandora, and Amazon Music. Keep listening, and we'll see you soon.